Welcome back to the Podsack Podcast. It's your boys, the Podsack crew. We're here to talk about anime gaming news.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Podsack Podcast. Thank you, Sasquatch, for checking us out. Here we bring you anime and gaming news. Today it is just me, Solo Dolo, and we've got some heat to talk about today. Normally it is the guys, but they're away right now. Hoping to come back next week for some anime and gaming news reviews. But today it's just me, so we're going to be going over Gachikuta and My Hero of the last episodes that aired. And let me tell you, there were some fire things happening in these animes. Two of the best right now. My Hero is going hard right now. Said Solo. Oh my God, I'm sorry. And My Hero is just like peak at this moment. This is the finale that people were waiting for. As for Gachikuta, we're going to be adding on a little bit. So right now, let's get into it. So we start with the gang, Engine, Rudo, Grizz, those guys, Rio, Zonka, all coming back from their little road trip with a visit to Amo, talking about how Grizz is a very dangerous driver and Engine is the only one that should be driving from here on out. People sleeping in the back. What we get is a call from Sumire, who tells them, hey, you guys need to come around the back. We got an infestation happening. This episode, Sumire stole this episode, okay? We saw some awesome combat ability from her today. We did. Literally, what she says is there are marauders that are now invading the hideout, and they need to come around back so they don't trip them up and they don't get caught. As this is going on, these marauders are blasting the hideout with like RPGs, guns, explosives, everything that they can basically get through into the cleaner's HQ. Sumire walks out, eyes glowing, glasses of fire. Her weapon is her glasses. Her giver ability gives the ability to make her glasses go all to be able to see the future. I know I'm stumbling over words. I apologize, but this is how we're doing it right now. I'm alone and I'm by myself. And she literally can see things before they happen. She's dodging bullets. She's dodging RPGs. At one point, she literally caught an RPG and threw it back like it was nothing and wiped out the marauders without breaking a sweat. She CQC'd the crap out of these guys and took them to town. And now we kind of learn where her new power ceiling is, because she easily can handle them. And as Engine and the crew walk out, they're like, oh, you already finished this fight without us? What the hell? She was like, I can handle the little guys. It's people with greater powers that are probably going to be a bigger trouble for me. As we kind of go through that, we learn that they have kind of an inkling as to who's giving information about Rudo being there, the Spherite. So we skip to this part where we're in a diner, and this is kind of comedic relief. There's this old man who's just like, I come here often. I enjoy excellence. My name is, you know what? It doesn't matter what my name is. Let me just tell you about what I enjoy. And as he's going through, it's showing shots of these different people. He's like, oh, there's regulars that are excellent, people with hair that have excellent hair, two new strangers coming about, and then there's these people. And he's talking about the cleaners who are like looking angry, eating violently, like it's something else. And as they look at him, he turns on, sees Rudo by him, because Rio is drinking Rudo's like orange juice or whatever, and he's got this death stare at him, and the old man just flees out. Nice little comedic moment that we got going on. And so they kind of start talking about how him coming down from the sphere is kind of unusual, because this is going to be the first time we hear about how they ask him how he gets away from the border or got past the border. Now they're talking about them like they're people or like it's a thing that he should never even gotten by, because most people that get dropped from the sphere end up coming down not moving or not full of life anymore, I guess you can put it. And they're asking her, like, how did you survive? Like, that shouldn't be possible. So this is the first time we hear about the border. We still don't know what it is. still don't know who it is or if it's even a thing. Just that it's there and they've mentioned it. Rudo is telling them like, "Hey man, I'm trying to remember." He's like, "I don't really know exactly. It's kind of fuzzy." And then it swaps to this like static TV thing where he's trying to remember, and all we can kind of make out are like his hand coming out, and there's something there, but it's not quite clear. And then it fades back to him in the diner restaurant. And it's just like his memory is kind of glitched. So we see him having trouble remembering his time of the in between of him falling from the sphere to hitting the ground on Earth, which is kind of interesting. We have this like dynamic of memory loss happening, adding a little bit of mystery to the overall story. Now, we learn a little bit about cleaner culture as well. Because Rudo's running, how can we all eat when like the raiders are out there and like they know about me and how they can be so cheery. Engine goes on to explain, well, listen, man, every time we finish a story or finish a mission, not a story, we finish a mission, we tend to come together to eat together and chatter and get to kind of like a nice tying family meal to build fellowship, to build teamwork, to build trust. They do this because it helps them get past what they've kind of gone through and to know that they're there for each other. So to understand that, it adds nice depth to the cleaners, that they're not just like an organization, that goes out and does shit and comes back like they're robots. They're still people at the end of the day. They still have these feelings and like these traumas that can affect them, but knowing that they're in this together definitely helps them. They go into a little bit too about like what each givers are, and Rudo is talking about Sumire in particular and how she beat up these marauders, but she can't fight beasts. They go on to explain like, well, it depends on the personality of the giver and their vital instrument. Like, for example, they were talking about how Engine, Rio, Zonka, even Rudo himself have these strong personalities that are based on like attacking. So they have these offensive capabilities that are absolutely amazing. And then you have some that are what they call defenders, people that based on their personality would rather protect and see and oversee things going on to help defend against themselves. And actually, that's a part that I missed. Sumire, when talking to the Marauders about coming in, they realized they didn't do any damage to the base, which is crazy. And we learned that's because of another teammate of the Cleaners, who they haven't mentioned by name yet. They call him a shut-in, because of his giver ability, if they don't have permission from him to enter the building, they cannot do anything to that building, which is a crazy power. And so they go into depth about this. And then there's other kind of abilities that happen along the way too, that they don't really get into too much. But attackers and defenders are basically the main thing based off people's personality. So we keep learning more about what is going on here, which is kind of amazing. This episode really peeled back some more layers. I love that they keep introducing more layers into this, and it's just one of those peak things in writing that you want, like you get all these layers coming back, and like more info added. Like the author does a great job of building lore and world building in this place, which is phenomenal. So with that, I mean, I missed a few things, like them going back to the doctor, them finding out that the doctor's related to two of the cleaners. And with the doctor I'm talking about is Alice, who's that crazy bald-headed one that looked like a man, but then we found out was a woman. She's actually the grandmother of two cleaners that are in the cleaner territory, in the cleaner HQ, which is the design guy and the girl who can heal. I forget their names now. I think it's August is the first one. I can't remember the healer girl's name, unfortunately. I'll look it up later. And that they're related to them. And they talk about storms and how these storms are like just junk being thrown around when the sphere moves, which is, again, more additional information that we never would have gotten, I don't think, in any other animes. But this one does a really good job of explaining that. and how these things go about. Anyways, back to the diner. We get these two cloaked figures that are talking about, oh man, like the Raiders sound dangerous. They are talking to Rudo directly, the one big guy, and he tells them like how their new leader is this more calculated, tactical approached leader, and they will listen to him to achieve their goals. And he's much scarier than what they had in the past. And at that point, he reveals himself to Rudo, saying, yeah, that's me. And he grabs him by the throat while the little guy who opens up a manhole portal, if you guys remember from a few episodes ago, that busted out Jabber and this other character to get away, sucks the leader back the leader goes back into the portal with Rudo following with the punch. But the other cleaners also grab him and also get sucked into this portal to this like underground, it looks like sewage areas, which is kind of interesting. Where we get the crew of cleaners versus this crew of raiders with Jabber in the mix and a bunch of new raiders that we haven't seen before. So I'm thinking we're going to have like an all out fight. It's going to be one of those amazing, like one of those crazy things, or we may end up getting those one-on-one fights that we typically see in anime to see how people stack against one another, which is going to be pretty freaking dope. That was the end of of the latest episode of one of the latest episodes of Gachikuta. More information to come. I know there was another episode that has dropped, but I haven't got to that yet. We'll probably cover this Saturday so we can talk about it a little bit, and we'll kind of go from there. So, Gachikuta, again, banging out another banger. See what I did there? In their lineup. At this point, I don't think Gachikuta can do anything wrong, but we'll see as we kind of go down the line. This is a great anime. Recommend checking it out. If you haven't, start. It's a wonderful piece of animation. And in my opinion, the dub is better than the sub. I think actually we all agree, and we've said this before. Now, to My Hero Academia, the return of Bakugo. This episode was straight fire, okay? Straight fire. Let me just tell you how it started. Ooh, everybody looking at All Might and being held up in the sky by One For All just ready to like rip and break him in half. Everyone looking at him defenselessly. Even Deku can't believe like what's about to happen to his mentor when all of a sudden Bakugo raises from the dead and takes off with a freaking fury. He clutches his like All Might card and jumps out, gets Deku to like whip him around quickly with his like black whip technique, and just fires away towards AFO that's holding All Might midair. And Shigaraki, being the dick that he is, goes off and is like, "He's never gonna make it. What do you think is gonna happen? That he's gonna be there to save him? You're absolutely wrong. AFO is gonna kill him before he even gets to him." And Deku's just like, "No, that's not going to happen because Bakugo won't let it happen." That's totally subtext, but we'll see. Anyways, we get to this point where he just rips as he's flying. Bakugo is just like ripping as fast as he can with his explosions through the air. And he's getting these flashbacks of like him as a kid with like Deku talking about All Might talking to both him and Deku when they were fighting, like all these things happening at once. And it just like pumps him up and powers him up even more to blast through and rip All Might out of AFO's hands, also taking out his arms at the same time and saving All Might. And brother, let me tell you, I got goosebumps watching this. It was insane. Bakugo coming back was just like, that man, he's the man. That dude is a G, and he always will be. It was some of the best animation I've seen in a while as well. That's not true. There's good animation, but from My Hero, they definitely put the money in this last season. This is where it's all going. So moving on to that, we get like these flashbacks of like All Might being surprised. Well, not Flash Eyes, but All Might is surprised that Bakugo came out of nowhere to save him. And it's just like, oh my God. And now, like, as he's seen Bakugo stand there ready to go up against AFO, he's getting flashbacks about like Night Eye and how he was like, oh, like if you go up against them, you'll die. Like whatever, you like the people need you. And it comes to this point where he's having this hallucination dream where he's talking to Night Eye, and they're talking about like the things that are going on, and Night Eye's like, you just can't die yet. But All Might's like, well, isn't it the precursor's duty to pass on the baton as he dies to his successor so they can take the torch and move forward with it? And Night Eye responds with, no, mentors don't have to die. That's just shit out of a comic book. You don't need to die in order to pass on your torch. You can still be alive to teach them and pass on the knowledge that you have. And on top of that, you changed fate because you made a promise. You made a significant promise to somebody, and this is why your fate is changing. He basically is saying, one for all itself, and because of Deku, what he saw happen with Deku, okay, made him realize that fate is not set in stone. One for all. Deku, that combination of two things in the universe can alter fate with the energy that he has. He would not Deku just wouldn't let fate tick and stand by to watch the people he cares about and innocent people get hurt. All Might accepted. He's like, I understand. I'm like, this is smart writing, because in a lot of anime tropes, you see this. You see a lot of mentors die as they pass on the torch. You get that from like Bleach, Naruto, Jiraiya Naruto, Old Man Yama from Bleach passing it on to Kutsurigi, and just like other animes. It's one of the biggest tropes I think we've ever seen. And this is the writing of this is basically calling this out, saying this is absolutely unnecessary. A teacher, a mentor can still be around to teach their young disciples to be better still. They don't always need to die off. And you know what? I agree. I'm like, yes, it does expand into the roles of like, oh, there's more meaning behind it. However, don't think it's necessary. I feel like those young people still need somebody there to guide them through their life. And he's the one to do it for both, not just Deku, but also Bakugo. So the passing the torch is now completely handed off to those two from All Might. Now, lastly, we get the standoff of Bakugo versus All For One, okay? First off, Bakugo's like, who the hell is this kid? All Might's like, that's All For One. And Bakugo's like, okay, we're going to take him on now. And let me tell you, All For One had a choice to either finish off All Might and take out Bakugo, or go back to Shigaraki to fulfill what his goal was. What did he end up choosing? Shigaraki. So he took off as fast as he could towards Shigaraki, saying how his other self failed to take over his body. So now he's got to go personally to not just deliver his powers, but also take one for all from Deku to give to Shigaraki. Okay. But out of nowhere, Bakugo just instantly, right in front of his face, blasts him into the ground and is like, you're not going anywhere. All For One looks up and is just like, I don't have time to deal with these scrawly pebble-like people. I gotta go and deal with this, and then I can take care of them after. As he's flying away, Bakugo's just like, nope, this ain't happening. And then we get this little side shell of like that ninja guy. I can't remember his name now. Oh my goodness. Night Shot, Ninja Shot, Star Shot. Oh my god. Hold on. I'll find out his name. Give me a second. His name was. Oh man. Ed Shot. That's what it was. This little thing from Ed Shot telling him like talking to All Might saying, look, And he's kind of dying. Like the power that he has takes away from his own biological being. So everything that he was trying to do to save Bakugo, like tying up, stitching up his insides, pumping his heart and lungs, and making sure he can breathe, keeping him alive, everything that he can do, he said he didn't know if he could do it, but he saw something inside of Bakugo where the sweat and the power buildup basically brought Bakugo back to life. It reignited Bakugo's heart to get him going again. So I was like, it wasn't just me. It was Bakugo himself, his power that he had honed that brought him back, which was like, holy moly, mother, that's amazing. Now, as we get through there, AFO's taking off, trying to get him. Bakugo's just not letting him. The power that's inside him is just like increasing exponentially about what he can and cannot do. And so as AFO's taking off, you see like Bakugo's heart just like pumping, and the explosions happen. He's like, I'm taking advantage of all this, and just blasts off. And like he can't control the speed because it's a bit too fast at the moment. So you see him kind of tumbling, crashing through a building, all matching up with AFO. And at the same time, you see this crazy animation of him like exploding himself forward towards AFO, and AFO is just getting these flashbacks about how he's holding up by the neck the first user that his brother Yoichi passed the power onto, and how he wished that he never met him to pass that on. And at that point in time, Bakugo just blasts AFO again, and he gets slammed into this wall. You see AFO come out, and he's like, I hate you, like Kudo. And I was like, who the hell's Kudo? That is the name of the first user that Yoichi, his brother, passed One for All onto. So AFO has some fears hiding inside of him. He didn't. Well, I would say to me, it seemed like not only was he just pissed about this whole ordeal, about this Kudo lookalike stopping him, but I feel like there's a fear that he has with him, and now he's getting that same kind of feeling back from Bakugo. And as he like the fear is cracking into him, like he is yelling out Kudo. Bakugo's like, brother, my name is Kacchan Bakugo, and I'm going to take you out. And I was like, peak storytelling. This, if you've dropped off, get back into it, okay? This is the finale that we've been waiting for. This is starting to get better than Endgame kind of shit, man. Let me tell you. We are right on the cusp of a generational anime coming to an end. And yeah, it had some downs, but it had a lot more ups, and it was been quite the journey. Check yourself into this anime and finish it how you started it, okay, with wonder and awe, because we're getting there. It's about to end, and I can't wait to see what goes on. The storytelling power that we're getting here is absolutely peak fiction right now. So that's my review. So with Gachikuta, my hero, Gachikuta, I'm giving an 8 out of 10. We got some lore backgrounds. It was a little bit slower, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know, I'd like it to move on a little bit faster. But right now, I think the pacing is where it should be. But I'd like a bit more info. That's why I'm giving that an 8 out of 10. As for my hero, this episode was like almost perfect, I would think. 9.5, maybe 9 out of 10. The only reason why I'm giving it that is because Deku kind of just stood there useless and was like, oh, what do I do? Which is like, it is what it is. Otherwise, this last episode of My Hero, almost absolute perfection. So this is where we're at. I think you guys should check it out. And yeah, and that's going to be a wrap up on my anime catch-up episode. So if you're watching Gachikuta or My Hero Academia right now, please let me know your thoughts and tell me if Bakugo's comeback hit you right in the chest like it hit me, because brother, it gave me goosebumps. And so just make sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time. Sax God, peace.